Hi, everyone. My name is Sharon Hawkins, and tomorrow will be March the 15th, 2024. We're back with you on another Friday evening on Being Money Minded on the Souls Sister 10X platform. Good evening again. Just to let you know, this is pre recorded on today. So I'm going to get right into it. So going back and I want to start off by thanking everybody who's been giving me suggestions, ideas, and feedback, messages, phone calls, whatever the case might be. And I'm glad that I'm able to impact and try to help someone be more money minded and to save be more money minded and to save money. So we'll be ready for the future. Okay. So this week I want to start something, and we're going to start off by talking about last week it was mentioned about discipline disciplining ourselves. So we have to discipline ourselves when it comes to being money minded. In the beginning, I had talked about writing things down and whatnot. So I think we need to slow down a little bit and get into that a little bit better. So that way you'll be able to do and take the necessary steps to be able to be more money minded. Okay, so first I want to start by I looked up the word discipline in dictionary on the internet. Says it's the practice of training people to obey or a code of behavior using punishment to correct disobedience. So um that is the definition of the word discipline. So when you think about discipline, you really don't think about discipline when you start thinking about money, but it does go together. So it's the practice of training people to obey rules. Okay. So when you're speaking of that and discipline, you want to teach yourself how to obey a financial rule. And that rule, per se, as we get deeper into this, is going to be your budget, how to discipline yourself when you come to finances. Because a lot of times we're not taught how to manage our money. So when we're younger, we just go on a spending free spree or something like that. Oh, I got it, so I'm going to spend it. For an example, my grandchildren, if they get a reward or something, or if I ask them to help me out with something and I give them a few dollars, they want to run and get that toy or go get that snack at the store. So I'm trying to teach them discipline in their money managing as well. So just because you have a dollar does not mean you need to spend it. Just as soon as you have it, you don't spend it. I'll give you another example of that. For me, when you go out and buy a new outfit or a new purse or whatever, we don't go out and buy new clothes every day. Well, some do, but hopefully you don't. There's a little bit of discipline there, to have it, okay? Or sometimes you'll buy something and you'll wait for that special occasion to wear that outfit. That is kind of discipline in financial aspect, because you're not just going out each and every day buying a new wardrobe. Okay. So again, that is the definition of discipline. Now, if you're trying to discipline yourself, it means disciplining yourself to do something. You have to train yourself to behave and work in a strictly controlled manner in a regular way. Okay, so that's where it comes a little bit more into being more money minded. You're training yourself. We know when we think about discipline, we think about the children, and they may be misbehaving, and you put a how children, you may put them in timeout or spanking or whatever the case might be. That's the way you discipline. What you have to do yourself that way when it comes to your finances. You have to train and teach yourself to behave when it comes to your money. You don't want to just go out and spend, cause a lot of debt, because you'll wind up getting yourself in trouble. Okay. Now remember, the name of this platform is Be Money Minded. So to be more minded, we have to learn how to be disciplined, how to discipline ourselves when it comes to spending. Okay. So we had to know what the word discipline means before we can actually get into it. So we gave you the definition of discipline. Now we're going to talk about being financially discipline. Okay, so you have to be financial discipline. You have to understand what you have coming in and what's going out, and you got to want to make sure that there's a balance in between there. Okay, you don't want to spend more than you have coming in, because then you're not financially disciplining yourself. All right, so I looked it up. I did some research, some studying and whatnot. We're going to go through some ways to start achieving that goal of financial discipline. Okay, being able to discipline yourself. So we understand what discipline means. We're working on training ourselves now on what we have. Okay, so week one we talked about I talked about making a spreadsheet or writing things down. So number one, here's your first way, your first step of getting financially disciplined. You have to write that down. I don't care if it's a journal. I don't care if you do a spreadsheet, but I challenge you each and every week when you get your check, write everything down, everything to the penny. Again, we talked about just your occasional going through a drive-through and getting a drink. Write it down. We're going to go old school here a little bit. We used to, I don't know if they still have them. We used to have a checkbook. A lot of people don't write checks anymore. So we had a checkbook. And when you get your checkbook came with a journal. You would write down the date you wrote the check out. Okay, you would write down who you wrote the check out to and the amount for it. But before you got to there, you had to have a balance. You needed to know what's in your checkbook. Okay, so this is going to be your checkbook. You're going to write down everything that you're spending, your gas, your groceries, your food. If you go to a concert, if you go bowling, if you go while you're there, if you go out if the weather's getting nice, the ice cream shops are about to open up. If you go out for ice cream, you want to write everything down. You want to keep a journal. Okay. So here's my suggestion to you. If you get paid weekly, you want to start and do it for 4 weeks. Okay, for the entire month, every time you get paid. If you get paid bi-weekly, meaning you'll get paid every 2 weeks, for those 2 pay periods, I need you to write everything down. Every bill you pay, everything you spend. Very, very important. Okay, that's step one, because you need to know what you're spending. Okay, so once we have that and you have all that information gathered together, then we're able to start moving on to be able to discipline ourselves. And you are going to be surprised on what you spend and where your money is going. I know I've spoken in the past about, we feel like sometimes we don't, we're working for nothing. We just seems like, oh, I get paid and all my money's going on my bills. I'm broke. I don't have any money. But you're going to find that you do have a little bit of money, and there's some things and that you can do to wiggle things around to make yourself more financially stable. Okay. So you have to understand, that's number one. You got to understand what you are spending, where your money is going. Okay. Now, when you do that, I want you to categorize it. Okay. So what do I mean? There's things that you can't help, things that you have to have. Okay. You have to have a roof over your head. So when you have to have your national grid, you have to have heat, you have to have groceries. Okay. So I want you to categorize it. That's the first category. Your first category is going to be your necessity, things that you have to have. Okay. And then after that, you want to have another category where maybe you call it personal. Okay. And that would be your recreation, things that you're out to eat. If you're going out to eat, if you're going out, if you have a date with friends, if you're going on a trip or whatnot, those categorize that way. Okay. Transportation could be another category. All right. If you do save money, saving should be a category. So, or anything like that, put that down. Your insurance, okay? All your streaming services, your gym membership. So you want to take whatever you can categorize it any way you want to. Okay, I'm just giving you a few ideas of how you can categorize it. So you can do your wants, needs, or recreation, however you want to call it. But you want to specifically put it in each category, and you want to do that every time you get paid on where your money is going, okay? Because we got to know where we're at so we can know where to go and get better. All right. So one could be your, like I said, your necessities, things you cannot live without: roof over your head, food. You have to have gas. Your cell phone. A phone is a necessity. Your national grid bill, your car insurance, all of those things. Okay. And then like I said, the recreation could be things that you do when you go out, or things like that. And then your savings can be another category. So you want to get all of that together, okay? Correct. Categorize that. You want to take a good look at that, and what you're spending, where you're going out. All right. So once we get all of that information, after we get step one of understanding where we go, okay. So now we have a pretty good idea where our money's going. So now we want to start taking that information and start creating a budget. Oh no, there's the ugly word when it comes to being money minded. You have to have a budget, okay? You have to have a budget yourself for what you need, okay? Now, when you're doing that budget, make sure you have all your necessary things that you need, okay? And then of course I had talked about your wants. You can categorize it in that way as well, all right? But make sure your needs are always above your wants. Okay, so now we have what you have all that information. What do I do with it? So now you want to start creating yourself a budget. Okay, so if you got a budget, you say, okay, my rent is $1,000, my car payment is $300. I'm spending $200, I wish, on groceries and things like that. You have what you need, okay, on one side. On the other side, you got, okay, well, I went out to dinner. I had this streaming service that I don't use. I have a gym membership. You have all those things on the other side of your pie chart spreadsheet, however you want to do it, okay? Because we're going to take a look at that and we're going to create a budget of things, okay? So I know that everybody's thinking, the first thing you're thinking is, oh no, here we go. She's going to tell us that everything that's on our want list that we need to get rid of. That's not the case. We're going to make a budget for that, okay? Because we're going to categorize those things of importance to you. Again, it's being money minded. We have to figure out what is necessary, what is not, what you can live with, and what you can live without. Okay, so you have to build a budget. We have to build there. So to be able to build that budget, we have to know what we need, what we're spending. Okay, so that's very, very, very important. Okay, so we have our budget. We have what we need, what our expenditures are, what our extracurricular activities are, and we're going to start creating this budget. All right. So now, once you start getting your budget together, take a look at that budget. All right. This is what I need. I know I need, my expenditures are $2,000. Okay. Over here on this side, on my wants, or however you categorize it, I have another $1,500. So you're going to take that $1,500 and you're going to categorize that now. What do I really need? How can I get down that side down? If you have no savings in there, you might have your credit card payments in there on this side or whatnot, or you may have it even over here on your budget side. Okay, you really need to take a look at it. And if you have it on your budget side, that's okay too, because we may be able to take a little bit of wiggle room on the needs or the want side and put it towards that card to help pay it down. Okay, so you want to take a real good look at it. And I have this budget. I got this thing now, so I'm going to start making this budget. Okay, so you're going to make up a budget, and you're going to look at what you don't. On that side, you're going to look at what you don't need, and you're going to try to limit some of those things or combine some of those things. For an example, if you are one that, I don't pay myself, I'm always broke, I'm going to treat myself with, you have that kind of mindset and that attitude, and I need recreation, and I'm going to go out once a week, and I'm going to go out to a restaurant once a week. That's fine. That's okay to think that way. But what you may want to do is think about where you're going, or if you're doing it once a week, maybe you can try it and see, okay, maybe I don't need to do it 4 times a month. Maybe I can do it for 3. Try it. Sticking in that budget. Say, okay, next month, in April, I'm going to, instead of eating out 4 times, I'm going to eat out 3 times. And if you budget yourself for $200 and you're going to cut down that $50, okay? So now you're going to think about where that extra $50 can go in that budget, because now it's extra, okay? So again, I had talked about paying yourself, paying down debt. It all depends on where you are in your life and what you are trying to do. How financial stable do you want yourself? What's more important to you? Is savings at this point in your life the most important thing? Is paying down your debt the most important thing? You have to figure that out, okay? All I'm doing is generalizing it. If saving is important to you, then take that $50 and open your a savings account. If paying down debt is, you could take that $50 and pay it on an extra bill. Pay it on your credit card. You can pay it extra on if you have a student loan, a personal loan, whatever the case might be, if it's paying down debt, okay? If it's starting an emergency fund, whatever the case might be, make another bracket, make another line, column, row, however you're doing it on your budget, and put that $50 there, okay? So now you have something and say, okay, wow, that's being a little bit of financial stability there. I do have a little bit of extra. There is some money there that I can play with. So that's going to get your mind to thinking and going, maybe there's something else I can do. All right. So next, that's step number 2 is you have to put yourself on a budget. We're talking about being disciplined. Okay. You have to discipline yourself, put yourself on that budget, okay? And you have to build to it. Again, one of the last steps I think here of being financially disciplined, it talks about it takes time. It takes time. This is not going to happen overnight. You're not mysteriously going to find $10,000 overnight that you want to spend or save, or that you're in a better spot because you found $50. It takes time, okay? I'll give you an acronym that we use at work and that's used in a lot of businesses. It's called the SMART goal, okay? And each letter represents something. The S, I believe I mentioned this before. The S is your budget. We can use this for your budget. S means you should be specific, okay? What is specifically you're trying to do? I can only use myself as an example. I am trying to make sure that I'm financially disciplined so that when I retire, I can still live the way that I'm living. Okay. Because some of us may be retiring earlier than the government wants us to be able to collect full Social Security. Okay. My plan is to retire before I can collect full Social Security. So I need to make sure that I have money stayed up and I'm financially disciplined, that I'll still be able to go on my trips and do different things that I'm able to do and be able to pay my bills. And if I want to buy another, purse or whatever, be able to fit my wants and my needs. Okay. So I have to have specifics. That's my specific. Okay. The M, measurable. Okay. You cannot go through and say, okay, I'm going to be financially disciplined. Okay. And set a goal that's way too high that you can't reach. All right. Too many people do that. Okay. You're going to say, oh, I'm going to save $5,000 this year. And you've never saved a dime in your life. Okay. What's going to happen after the first month or two, when you feel like you didn't save enough, whatever you had in your mind to save each month? You're going to fail and you're going to just say, well, forget it. I'm not going to try. I'm broke. No, this is why I said last week, it doesn't matter if you just save $5, okay? Make sure that your goal is measurable. You can reach it, okay? You don't want to set it too high. I'll use another example. A lot of people at the beginning of the year, we have weight loss goals. I'll use that for an example. A lot of times, a lot of diets and weight loss goals fail because we don't do a SMART goal. Okay. We want to lose 50 pounds overnight. We want to go to bed tonight and wake up and tomorrow, look in the mirror, and a couple of those, areas that we wanted to target and be smaller and expect it to be there. So you got to make sure that it's measurable. And that goes along with the A, which is achievable. Okay. If it's not measurable and it's not achievable, it's not going to happen. You're not going, Lord, I wish we could. I wish I can go home, I'll go to sleep tonight and wake up tomorrow and I have some areas that I would like to be smaller. Okay. That's not achievable. Okay. It's not attainable. It could be attainable, achievable, whatever acronym, words you want to use. Okay. So you have to make sure that your goal is there. It makes sense. Okay. Don't make yourself too high. Okay. So what some have done is say, okay, even platforms, weight loss platforms and different things, say, make it measurable. Your goal should be, if you're trying to lose weight, 2 pounds a week. That's something that's attainable. That's something that's measurable. That's something that you can reach. If you get paid and you start off low, all right, I can save $5. Just $5 I can scrape somewhere. Okay. So what's going to happen? Okay. Let's use the weight loss thing for an example. You're going to get on that scale after that week and you're going to look down and you're going to say, wow, I lost that 2 pounds. 2 pounds. What happens to your mind? You get excited. You start to think, well, maybe I can do that. Okay. So you save that $5 a week. At the end of the month, if it's a 4-week month, you have $20. Wow. Well, maybe I can save that. So that $5,000 that I'm trying to save is unmeasurable, but that $20 was measurable, attainable, and I achieved that. Okay. So your R should be, your R is relevant. Okay. Realistic. It makes sense. Okay. Again, $5,000 and you never saved any money, $20 starting off. Okay. It's more realistic. You have to make it real. You got to be smart about this. Okay. And then the T stands for time bound. Okay. You got to when you do these budgets or whatnot and you go through it, you have to put a beginning date and an end date on it. You have to keep it in the front of your mind. Again, if you make it too long, it gets stale. I'll use my job for an example. We run what's called incentives. So if we want to, I'll use drive-through for an example. Okay, so our drive-through time is a little high and we want to get it down. So we do what's called a crew incentive. We want to motivate the team to be more productive. Okay, so we say, okay, for the next 30 days, we give them something measurable. If we can get our drive-through time down 5 seconds, we'll have a $25 gift card drawing. Every time you're on a shift and we meet that goal, your name will go on the hat. And then at the end of the month, we'll pick for it. Okay. So it's time bound. They know we're going to start on April 1st and on April 30th, we end it. So on May 1st, we're going to draw for that gift card. Okay. So it's time bound. So that gives your team some motivation, okay, to be able to do it. This is what you want to do. Disciplining yourself. You want to make sure you give yourself a time frame. Okay. And make sure that time frame is realistic, that it's measurable, that it's achievable. Again, it may not be a whole year you want to do. Let me see what I can do in 30 days. Let me see what I can change in 60 days. Okay. Once you hit the 30-day mark, then you can go to a 3-month period, whatever the case might be. Once you start doing it and getting used to it, it becomes your lifestyle and you become more financially disciplined. Okay. So you want to keep these things in mind. It all runs together. All the different things that we use in our lives, we can use it in every aspect of our life. Okay. So when you're looking at that, you want to get your budget going. You want to make some critiques to your budget. You want to make sure your budget has that SMART goal. Okay. So you want to make sure that it's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's realistic or relevant, and it's time bound once you give yourself that budget, because you can always go back and critique that budget. The goal here is to make yourself financially disciplined. Well, you'll see that you're able to reach your goal. All right, but you have to have the goal and set too. So maybe I should have started with goals instead of discipline, but it all runs together. Okay. What your goal is. My goal is I want to be as debt free as possible before I retire. I want to have X amount of dollars in the bank before I retire. Okay. So that's my goal. If your goal is to pay down your debt, then that's great. Let's get the SMART goal going. Let's get our spreadsheet going, our journal going, writing everything down, starting to build these budgets. Okay. So we have to figure that out. I know I sound like I'm repeating myself, but I want to make sure I take my time with it and teach you or help to teach you how to be more money minded, how to achieve these goals. So we needed to break it down, and we'll start getting into more details. Okay. So we got into our first two steps. Step number one is you have to know what's going out. I challenge you, get your spreadsheet, get your journal for the rest of the month of March. Okay. Write everything down. It's in the middle of March. Go from middle of March to the middle of April. If you get paid weekly or bi-weekly, write everything that you down, a journal, a spreadsheet, whatever the case may be. Okay. Number two, when you're doing that, when you get that information, you want to create yourself a budget. Okay. So next week we'll get a little bit deeper into it. What the third step is about disciplining ourselves and being more money minded. Again, my name is Sharon Hawkins. Thank you for joining me this evening. This is pre-recorded. And again, if you have any questions, please reach out to me on this platform. Message me, call me, text me if you have my number, whatever the case might be. Get a hold of Lady Grace, and we will definitely try to help you. Thank you. God bless you. And I say that at the end, I want to make sure I remind everybody, if you be money minded, give to the Lord first. Thank you. God bless you, and have a blessed evening.